One.
Hi, English students. This is a tutorial for how to start to make your video once you have gotten done writing your speech. Today, I would like you to start to put together the first 5 slides of your video speech. And here's how I want you to do it. The first thing I want you to do is to go ahead and open up a version of Google Slides. I've already done the first 2 slides here, and I'm going to show you what it's going to look like when I get done. So open up Slideshow. You may also use something else for this to narrate. So you may be able to use a different program. Some of you are going to choose to use videos and things like that with voiceovers from your video class. This is not the only way to do this, but if you do not know how to use those other programs, please do this. This will suffice and could be very effective. So simply what you're going to do is take your speech and you are going to read your speech, and you will attach slides to this, or not attach them, you'll actually voice over. So as you're reading your speech, you've got slides in the background. And I want to show you what I mean. So for example, let's say this is my speech right here, and I've put this, I've already printed this out so I can actually read this. So I'm not going to be able to read this off the screen while I'm doing my speech. I will have to read this separately. You may choose to use note cards and write this down. You may choose to print out your speech somewhere else. You may choose to take pictures of your speech using your phone and put your phone on the side and just read it off your phone. Or you can look up Google Docs off your phone and be reading the speech right off of there. Okay, so as long as you have slides to go with your speech. I want to read you the first paragraph of this speech and how I got some slides for it. Okay. So the first paragraph right here says, should military personnel be allowed to use tobacco? And then it goes into across the country, various cities, counties, and states are raising the legal age of using tobacco to 21 years of age. I made that my first slide. I actually did this word for word. And I'm going to start off with the question, and then I'm going to actually read this part. For the next part of this first paragraph, I'm going to have all this text right here and my claim, but I'm only going to have a picture so that as students are listening to my speech, they actually have a visual right here, something to look at. And so I want to demonstrate for you how this actually sounds and how this actually reads. Okay. Should military personnel be allowed to use tobacco? Across the country, various cities, counties, and states are raising the legal age of using tobacco to 21 years of age. This also applies to those serving in the armed forces. This means military personnel are considered too young to make a decision on tobacco use, but old enough to risk their life for their country. All young adults serving in the United States military should be allowed to purchase and use tobacco. All right, I hope that shows you, after I read the first paragraph right there, how it would correspond to these slides. You may choose to use other slides or other things besides pictures and text, but these will be the main 2 things that you use. You can use moving videos, but the problem is going to be with this slideshow, how to go back and forth and get the sound. And you will not have a very good sound if you try to do that. The one thing that you want to make sure that you do is when you have, for example, your actual pieces of evidence right here, you must have that evidence actually in the slide. So I am actually forcing you to do that. I want you to copy and paste that into a slide. So I'm going to insert a new slide here, and I'm going to actually put in that text. And the reason why is because your evidence is terribly important to your argument. Let's go ahead and put this in the right color here. Let's go ahead and put it as white text. It's terribly important that your audience sees this and is able to read the exact evidence from the text. I wouldn't suggest putting anything much more than that, though, because you don't want to, put your warrants on there and different things like that as you're reading it. Okay, you don't need to do all that, but you do want to have the evidence. So here's my evidence right here. You guys can see that. So when it actually presents it, when I get to that next paragraph, and I would want to also have the source here too, by the way. This is missing the source. I would want to have that source there. You can abbreviate this. Some of you may choose to, if you find graphs. Graphs would be wonderful. If you have a graph that represents what it is that you research, that would be great. So text, pictures, graphs, things that you can even do drawn pictures, okay? Anything you think that's going to engage our class in the actual argument, okay? So lots of options there. Okay, have fun with it. You need to have at least 10 slides. Make sure you get your piece of evidence in there and your main points. And I will be here soon to in class on Wednesday to see how these have progressed. Have fun.